are you doing with it?
GREENZONE Academy is an educational support.
Your network is bad.
Is it me?
Service provider located in Nigeria. We connect families with competent tutors and therapists, irrespective of your geographical location. Our tutors are currently active in Lekki, Ikoyi, Abuja, Canada, Australia, USA, the United Kingdom, and so on. Please follow us on Instagram at green_tutorsng or visit our website at www.greenzoneacademy.com.ng. For more information, please send a WhatsApp chat to 0811 282 2841. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes.
All right. I'll make a facilitator for today, as I also showcase the introductory video now.
Meet Prince Raymond Jr. Prince Raymond Jr. Okelechi Aminu Duru is a youth motivational speaker, an author, and educationist. He is very good with the languages. He can speak the 3 major languages of the country: Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. He is the pioneer and founder of Let the Child Know Foundation, a foundation that has brought so much hope and life to children with special needs. The foundation is geared towards giving every child a meaningful life. He is the Director of Studies at Home of Champions Tutors. He is an educationist and a seasoned tutor who has modeled and is still modeling lives in the right way through his unequivocal teachings. He is an author and a poet. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, join me to welcome Prince Raymond Jr.
Woo! You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much. Over to you now.
Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning from wherever you all are. Can we all see me?
Not yet, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how about now?
A reflection, not showing clearly.
Okay. Oh, so sorry. So sorry, guys. I'm trying to come up again. Okay. Am I on now?
Yes, we can see
Hello.
you now.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm so privileged to be part of this occasion of the online bootcamp for preteens and teenagers, and most especially youths all around the world, and coming in to give an impact and showcase what it means to, live a fruitful, developed life away from what the society has defined it as from the negative point of view. So just like I have been introduced, I remain DrRayOzymandias, and that is my pet name. And more also, there's so much I do. Okay, so today's topic is drug abuse and its implication. Now, firstly, I just want to tell us that this topic is not just a topic we can finish in a day. Even given the time I have, I'm not sure I'm able to exhaust everything that we have, but we can play around, some thoughts that can really be of great impact or great insight to us. I believe we have children, and I believe we have teenagers and youths and parents also on this platform. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay. All right, that's great. Okay, so today I'm going to start with the first thing. What is drug? We all know the usefulness of drug when it is on the positive side. At the same time, we all know the negative aspect of it, just to some extent. For our children and for the teenagers who are either growing up in a society where there's so much to talk about or there's so much to look into, it may not look new to them when it comes to a reflection of what the negative aspect of drug abuse or drug is. So maybe in the next boot camp, I think we should have a projector where we can project some of our notes and all of that. But I'll try as much as possible to relate my thoughts from my notepad. Are we all ready? Hope you have your writing materials. Hope you have things to put down. I'm ready for you if you're ready. If you're ready, let me know. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay. All right. Now, drug is any substance other than food that is used to prevent, to diagnose, to treat, or to relieve symptoms of disease or abnormal condition. Should I take that again? If you're dictating, drug is any substance other than food that is used to prevent, diagnose, treat, or relieve symptoms of a disease or an abnormal condition. So when we are having health challenges, science-wise, we are recommended to meet our legal practice, our science practitioners, medical practitioners, so that they can administer certain level of drugs just to help us get well, just to help us prevent certain negative side effects or conditions that we may find ourselves, or symptoms, or any form of developed disease around the world today. So drug cannot just be said to be a negative thing. It's also a useful thing. It's a useful thing health-wise. And but where it becomes so negative, or where it becomes so otherwise, is when there's a misuse of it. When there's a misuse of it. So drugs can affect how the brain and the rest of the body work, and causes change in mood, awareness, in your thoughts, in your feelings, in your behavior. Drugs can do that. Drugs can either make you sleep. I don't know if drugs can wake somebody from the dead, but drugs do a lot in the body, especially metabolically, when our brains require rest, or when our body require rest, and when we need it to sustain our health in very many ways. So that is the simple definition for drug. Then we are going to look at the other word added to it. We say drug, then we now have what we call drug abuse. So there are two different words. Now, just before I continue, the drugs we have that help us to prevent certain, stuffs like that, you can see that as what we call the pharmaceutical medicine or the pharmaceutical drugs. These are drugs for hospitals, clinics, or all sort of emergency state of requirement that we will be needing such administration of drugs. So we can have so many. I can't really say I have a whole list of all the useful drugs that can be used at any point in time. But when you have slight headache, either severe or otherwise, you consult your doctor, they administer paracetamol, Panadol, or all sort of stuff like that. And when you're having your issue of catarrh or flu, from other parts of the nation, they call it flu. In Nigeria, we say it's catarrh or runny nose. So, we also have drugs for that. So for every part of the body that has a little effect that needs attention, there is a drug for it. There is something to use as a cure, as a preventive, as a panacea, we can say a remedy. So let me put it that way, a remedy to helping out to sustain the body. Okay, so I divert into what we call drug abuse. We can say drug misuse. At the same time, we can say substance abuse. So depending on the angle we're coming from, depending on how we interpret it, drug abuse is one of the major topics all around the world that usually requires attention, if not immediate, because it is more like a disease that is eating into the society, that is eating into the community at large, and all hands must be on deck just to fight the state or condition of misuse of drugs. For so many reasons, we're going to look at what it's all about. We're going to look at the effects. We're going to look at the types. We're going to look at facts, all around the world. As much as time permits, we're going to cover quite a lot. I just hope you're going to follow me at the pace I am talking, or at the pace I am, literally explaining myself to you. Okay. Drug abuse or substance abuse refers to the use of certain chemicals for the purpose of creating pleasurable effects on the brain. For the purpose of creating pleasurable effects on the brain. Now, it is a major issue all around the world. Okay. It is a major issue that requires, like I said, great attention, because for so many people who find themselves making use of drug don't actually know that there's a state or condition they find themselves where drugs can actually be misused or misapplied, and this usually becomes an issue or becomes something that we in our world need to give it a maximum attention. For example, you go to the hospital, you're having slight headache. Maybe the is migraine, or maybe it's something you feel after having an exhausted day, or having, I don't know how to put it, but you just feel this pain, and the doctor says, okay, just take 2 dosage of tablets, and you're like, can 2 dosage be enough for this that I'm feeling? Before you know, you just pick up more than what you've been asked, or more than what you're supposed to take, and in the long run, it becomes misused. Instead of taking 2, you're either taking 4, you're either taking 5. And for people in this part of the country, they are like, as much as I am okay, it is nice for me to take the way I want, but it's something which little or gradually affects our health. Little by little our health begins to deteriorate. So it is better to always stick to what the doctors recommend, not what your mind recommends, or not what your senses feel or assume. All right. So drug abuse is more or less the excessive, maladaptive, or addictive use of drugs for non-medical purpose, despite social, psychological, and physical problems, that may arise from so many use that cannot, that can either be regarded as short or long, to the body. For example, someone who is probably, will I say, having issues with cancer or thereabouts, he or she may know that this issue requires attention, if not immediate, and cancer is one of the deadliest form of this disease. So in that case, for someone in such states, not having the right doctor or not having the right practitioner, they could go beyond killing themselves. They could go beyond taking what shouldn't be taken just to administer themselves for their safety. So drug abuse, like I said, can be addictive, in the sense that when we find ourselves so bent on making use of drugs, especially those who feel they need to sleep, they don't get enough sleep, they want drugs so that they could sleep, sharp boosters. Some people call it sharp boosters, some because they feel they need energy. There are so many aspects to which we can really talk about when it comes to the idea of drugs. So how many drug users do we have all around the world? There are over 190 million drug users, according to WHO drug use report, where all around the world it's becoming an increasing issue, is in an alarming rate, so drug use or drug misuse or substance abuse ranges from the age of those in their early 20s, early teens, up to 30 or thereabouts, because at that age of 30 downwards, we have more high rates of issues of drug misuse. So what are the other factors? Not factors. What are the other facts that we can consider? Now I'm coming in the aspect of people in the age of 12, maybe older than that, as a result of drug misuse. It is assumed that 59.3 million people, that is a 21.4% of the population, are said to be addicted to the use of marijuana just for recreational purpose or some medical purpose that is for them. So it's illegal. There are drugs that are illegal. There are drugs that we need not take. Just like I said earlier, there is the good side of drug and there is the bad side. That is the one we're talking about now, the one that affects us as children, as teens, as youths, all around the world. So approximately 40.3 million people have issues of disorder when it comes to the use of drugs, and this disorder brings them struggle, especially when it comes to alcohol. When it comes to alcohol is also, we're coming to talk about the types of drugs, okay? So I'm just trying to create some facts so you know how. Is somebody trying to say something? Hello?
Continue. I've muted the person.
Okay. So we're looking at, right now we're looking at facts all around the world. So it is believed that dealing with illicit drugs, which can also be called misuse of drugs that are not legally recommended in a country, provides so many social problems, so many economic problems and otherwise. The rich people we hear of today, a lot of them are connected to so many illicit drugs, such as cocaine, use of marijuana, and so much, because for some is a sport. For some, they use it to promote so many things, especially among the youths, body, muscle building, all kind of stuffs like that. So we are literally looking at it being illegal, but the governments of so many nations of the world, they are trying as much as possible just to reduce this use or state of misuse of drugs. So, for example, substance misuse, and a lot of that has the national economy brought down to an estimate of, for example, we have $249 billion going into alcohol use, and $193 billion going into illicit drug use. So it is not surprising, like I told you, there are so many merchants, there are so many people who we call them drug barons. Yeah, we call them drug barons. So they are more like the people in power. They want to sell their product. For so many people in other nations of the world, especially in Nigeria, you hear them say, smoking is not good. It's injurious to the heart, to the lungs, But you still find out that the caption of not using it is not always considered. You will hear youth saying, after all, I have somebody who is smoking, nothing has happened to him. Maybe he's 32 now, maybe he's 42 now. But in the long run, they don't know how it deteriorates in their body. There are different kind of smokes. Okay, so naturally smoke is an issue to your inhaling, but we're talking about what goes through down to the lungs, to the heart. It darkens everywhere. But you find out that there are so many governments promoting it, sponsoring it. So the issue of probably eradicating drug abuse majorly will have to start from those producing it. Either they are going to repent because for them it's business, and for them man has a choice, you know. So because they are working, or they are trading on the choices of people, you have a choice to smoke or not to smoke. So if you choose to smoke, and I am producing cigarettes, or I'm producing the products, it's to my benefit. I have to make sure I promote what I sell. You know, I'm just trying to help you understand that it is not so easy to utterly eradicate misuse of drugs and all that and all of that. If there were such restrictions, I mean, everyone who's smoking should have been arrested or should be given some sentence measure, you know. But because even those in the seat of power are part of the caucus, or are part of the circle, you know, such things become a matter to look into. And the only people who suffer the most are those in the age brackets who are easily misused or misguided, or don't have parental control, or are not under the guidance of any person. Because you find out that a lot of people in the ghetto, or in the rustic areas, that is rural areas, they are more of the people with this high state or high rate of misuse of drugs, you know, sniffing of cocaine and all of that and all of that. So it is only when they are guided that they know the right thing, or that they know what is actually good and what is not good. Okay, yeah. So currently there are 138.5 million current alcohol drinkers who are between the age of 12 and older, more like 50% of the world's population, you know. So is alcohol injurious to the body? Yes, you know, it's injurious to the body, and it's also an aspect of drug that you are not seeing as a form of tablet. You can only see it in a liquid form. The beer, I don't know. Do we have people who take beers or who are into all these stuffs? I'm just speaking from the perspective of trying to educate our teens and our youth and our teenagers. The excess take of alcohol becomes something of an issue in the long run. Okay, please, if you're following, let me know. I hope I'm not talking to myself.
We are here, sir.
Okay. All right. So, what are the causes of drug use? What are the causes of drug use or drug abuse? Now, there are so many facts that I've been unable to literally mention, but I just want to let you know from the ones I talked about or have spoken to you on. It tells you how great of an importance we need to put to not allow our teenagers, to not allow our children, to not allow our youths, whether they are biologically related to us or something, to not allow them engage into, because when we open our eyes and watch them involve themselves into illicit drug use, we are not only corrupting the society, we're making the society look worse than it ever was, because we are trying to say we want to make the world a better place. The only way to make the world a better place is to be our brother's keeper, and being our brother's keeper means we are looking out for them. We are totally watching out for what they eat, what they drink, what they wear, the society they live in altogether. So there are children who are raised in hello, how are you? There are children who are raised in homes that literally the parents are prone drug addicts. What do you expect to raise to the society? You're also going to raise a child who takes after your traits, or a child who takes after you. Like an issue I watched some days back. The parents of this boy, they are very, very addicted, to drugs. The father is into cocaine, the mother is more of an alcoholic. At the end of the year, or at the end of the days gone by, this boy became both an alcoholic drinker and a cocaine sniffer. And that same boy, because he feels this is the thing, or because he feels that is the way he has grown or developed, he will also want to impact others to be like him. So the more we close our eyes, the more things transit from one stage to another. And that's why we must watch out. If you see a child practicing using the tissue paper or the litmus paper or any kind of paper, wrapping, trying to use it with matchstick, immediately caution the person. Caution him. That reminds me, I remembered when I was growing up, I think that was in my hometown or thereabouts. I just noticed that there are quite a lot of people, I think I should be around age 7 or 8. There are quite a lot of people within the age bracket of maybe 15, 18 on the street. You can see them literally smoking. You can see them literally, and to me, I just feel like I can't do what they are doing, because whenever they pop out something from their mouth, the smoke goes, and it's more like there's an excitement. So I said, let me try. I don't know what they are taking, but I said, let me try. I had to wrap the paper. My aunt was cooking. Then she was not in the kitchen. She wasn't in the kitchen. So I went close to the stove. That's the paraffin kind of stove. So I had to light it. My heart was beating like, what am I about to do? I don't know what's the outcome. I don't know what's going to happen. Then I took the first sniff. In fact, before it even gets to my mouth, already the energy of the smoke has saturated my lungs, my heart, something like that. I started coughing, otherwise, like I just coughed so otherwise. And my auntie came and said, what are you trying to do? You want to start smoking? Since that day, I learned. And I can't find myself where people are smoking. I can't find myself thinking I want to smoke. What am I smoking for? Some people want to smoke so that they could be literally high, intense excitement, Some people smoke because they want to feel relaxed, out of a state of depression or out of a state of so many things. So let us be our brother's keeper, our children's keeper, our teenagers' keeper. We are the ones the society is looking out for. If other people are not doing it, let us do it right. So the causes of drug abuse are usually psychoactive drugs that are used by people for various different reasons, which may include, so I'm going to be listening. When you say psychoactive, you're talking about something that stimulates your body to function in a certain way, or to act in a certain way, or to reason in a certain way, or to, either be dependent in a certain way, or, something that stimulates you, something that gets you active, more or less. When you are hungry, the only thing that can get you active is when you eat. So we're talking about drug abuse. The major drug abuse that causes this state of mindset or this state of stimulation are what we refer to as the psychoactive drugs. And the following are the causes for the substance abuse or misuse of drugs. 1, curiosity and peer pressure, especially among school children and young adults. I hope you get that. Curiosity and peer pressure, especially among school children and young adults. Now, what are we talking about? Just like I shared with you, if I had successfully taken the sniff and nothing happened to me, I'm sure I would also be feeling like I have belonged, or I'm among now. So I could literally take up a higher smoke, cigarettes for example. So it's something that for me, I felt there's a need to become like them. So out of a state of curiosity, out of a state of peer pressure, a lot of teenagers, a lot of children, a lot of youths want to be among. So they will tell you, man, you're not in our category, you're not in our class. They form this category kind of state of thought. So for those who don't belong to them, they are seen as minors, or they are seen as people who can literally not meet up to their standard. So, and this is one of the reasons why people now form a sect that is a state of cultism, So there is so much. Another cause is the use of prescription drugs that were originally intended to target pain relief may have been turned into recreational use and become addictive. I hope you get that. The use of prescription drugs that were originally intended to target pain relief may have turned into recreational use and become addictive. What am I trying to say? For someone who is into sports, and he knows when he or she does a particular sport, he gets tired, and he goes to meet the doctor to explain, doctor, look at this, and the doctor says, okay, you can be taking this once in a while. So as time goes on, maybe he feels this isn't enough. He takes beyond the dosage, or she takes beyond the dosage, and it becomes an addiction. So it becomes a booster for some of them, whenever, especially athletics, those in athletics. You find out that they are faster than the rest. Why? Because there's something in their vein, there's something in their blood that has stimulated their body function. So in so many sports, we can say 50-50. Why? To some extent, people use drugs just to keep healthy. The wrestlers, the boxers, just to stay proactive. But at the same time, when it now dawns on them that they need to cheat, because it is a cheat. When you are trying to cheat your opponent, you are using a means, to overpower the person. That's when you double up what you are taking. So, and that's why some sports administrations or management have now been sanctioning players, athletes, for either doping, they are found guilty of excess use of certain prescribed drugs and all of that. And so is the cause of it. So another cause is chemicals, which may be used as part of religious practice or rituals. Well, for this particular one, I don't know from the other part of the world where you're from, but in Nigeria, there's this aspect where it is traditionally a right for you to bring hot, this kind of hot, to either a wedding or a shrine or something is a right. Some of those liquid form of drugs, cements and all of that. Please, if I'm talking this way, I'm letting you understand that I'm speaking from where I don't belong. So probably I'm trying to encourage you to also be yourself. Nobody can push you or should push you to becoming what you were not destined or proposed to be. Yeah. So God has designed a different thing for you. That is the way to follow. That is the path to follow. All right. So, so many rituals also introduces the use of drug misuse. Okay. It depends. All right. I hope that part is clear. If it's not clear, just drop your questions and we'll continue. Then we have, like I also stated earlier, recreational purpose. One of the causes of drug use, recreational purpose, for recreation, either to sort out yourself for excitement. You're excited about something, or to be high on something, or you want to get gingered, you are feeling down, depressed. So you just want to get so excited. You just want to shake off, those thoughts of you feeling down. So for so many recreational purposes, we have the issue of misuse of drug. Then it is also a means of obtaining creative inspiration. Some people feel they could get inspired actually when it comes to using drugs. So I am not inspired by using drugs. I can only take drugs when I know there's a health challenge, but I don't have a health challenge. I am a son of consolation, so I don't have a health challenge. Yeah. Okay, so what are the categories of drugs? There are 3 categories I'm going to talk about. Time is running. Just like I said, this topic is not something we can exhaust even in the time frame. So what are the 3 categories of drug that we have? Number 1, we have what we call depressants. Depressant, from the word depress or depression. Depressants. Something that actively work to take away depression. That is what we call depressant. So this causes depression of the brain's faculty, and examples they include sleeping pills, barbiturates and heroin. So when people want to sleep, when people want to do something, when they feel depressed, they just want to, they don't want to sleep and forget things. All right, so that's one is there. Heroin, I hope a lot of us know about heroin. It's one of the popular depressants. Sleeping pills, you know, yeah. Then number two, we have stimulants. All right, they cause excitement to the brain. They stimulate the brain, giving it a state of alertness, and it increases an outburst of activity, you know, to become vigorous, to become agile, to become active, you know. So it's something that speeds up your heart rate. It raises your blood pressure. Sometimes it causes nausea, vomiting, and behavioral changes such as agitation and impaired judgment, which may also in several cases there may be delusional psychosis, which can occur with the use of cocaine and amphetamines. So the excess of it the excess use of the stimulants causes so many disorders in the body, you know, so many dislocations, so many deteriorating, a state of cancer in the long run, you know, the blueness or greenness of the blood instead of the blood being normal, you know. I don't know if you've seen people who are cocaine addicts. You'll notice that their blood is not the same blood that God gave them naturally. So that is that. I'm trying to rush because there's so many things under that I wish I could talk about. Then we have what we call the hallucinogens, hallucinogens. So this cause hallucinations and an out of this world feeling of dissociation from oneself. Hallucinogens may cause distorted sensory perception, delusion, paranoia, and even depression. Example includes mescaline, the LSD, the ecstasy, you know. So these hallucinogens are something, in fact, the three, they are things we ought not to even associate ourselves with, because the moment we start, it takes a lot to end it. You know, it requires a lot to end it. And we're going to look at so many things. So what are the examples of drugs? For those of us, the children, the teenagers, we have alcohol, like I mentioned. So drugs can be either in form of solid, liquid, you know. So we have alcohol, we have tobacco, we have cocaine from coca, we have opium and opioids from poppy plants, we have hashish, or you call it marijuana, from cannabis. We have these synthetic drugs, which is otherwise heroin, LSD, and ecstasy, and so on and so forth. So how do people administer these drugs to themselves? Or how do people take these drugs? There are many ways or means by which these drugs can be taken or administered into the body. Some either orally, in form of a pill, you know. There are different pills. So not all pills are legit. There are illicit pills, you know. So for someone who naturally probably doesn't have a state of sleeping, the excesses of pills to sleep in the long run can cause the person to pass out, probably pass on to glory, you know. And you can, like I said, orally. So there are ways to administer some substance drugs or misuse of drugs. So We have the intravenous form, which is a form of injection. You know, I don't know if you have seen documentaries of people getting injected. They pass in something into them. You know, that's another way. Then another way is by inhaling, which is a form of smoke. You all know. Puff, cigarettes, all form of smoking. Smoking. All form of smoke activity. Let me put it that way. So you also have what called the sniffing, you know, which is absorbed through the nose. You know, you can attest to the use of cocaine. You know, you notice some people, their nose here become whitish or reddish, depending. You know, some through the use of the oral form, through the use of the tongue by licking. You know, so there are so many ways by which people take. Some by diluting into liquid form, maybe water, or you know, like what some youths do, they add drink to drink, a stronger drink plus a weaker drink. They add it together. Sometimes a stronger drink with another stronger drink, like that. So there are different ways of, you know, sometimes a drink, then a pill inside. So there's so much in the society that is so bad, you know, and when you see these people health-wise, you cry for them. You would have wished they never started whatever they took. Some of them become paralyzed. Some of them become distorted in their eyes, nose, mouth. Some of them have state of rashes all through their body, because for all drugs, there's always an implication. There's always a negative side of it. That's why the doctors will say, meet your medical practitioner in case there's an issue, in case there's a problem. You know, because some people avoid such. Some people avoid, you know, those lapses or those little signs. You know, when you take, for example, paracetamol and you're coughing, you should know that there's an issue. Either the drug you are taking has expired or it was not the right thing for your health. Then you need to meet the doctor. Don't now become ignorant and say, oh, maybe I just started coughing, or maybe I just started. Then you now start taking the same drug again. Before you know, another health challenge or another health issue comes up. So there are so many ways to talk about that. Then we are going to look at what we call the epidemiology of drug use. Now, epidemiology, epidemiology of drug. When you say epidemiology, you're talking about a state of study, all right, that helps us to understand how consumption of drugs, you know, are taken, or how people either find themselves using or misusing drugs and all of that. So a person in charge of this is called an epidemiologist. You know, they make a lot of research. They make a lot of research and findings. So, for example, one of the drugs I've mentioned, cannabis, marijuana, and hashish, they are the most widely abused drugs in the world. Cannabis, marijuana, and hashish. You know, there are over 141 million people worldwide who consume cannabis. And the use of stimulants such as amphetamine and ecstasy is also widespread. So like I told us earlier, there are people whose job or whose sole state of living or earning is under this business. In Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in some of the Middle East countries, when they want to kill a prisoner, when they feel a prisoner has gotten to a ripe time to be killed, sometimes they don't shoot, they don't kill the person by any other means. They administer drugs that are beyond what they can take. There are so many ways to kill an individual, and one of the ways is through misapplication or misuse of drugs. So drug misuse is poisonous to the health. So we have nearly 30 million people who are, how will I put it? Nearly 30 million people in the world who make use of stimulants, just like I explained earlier. Then cocaine is also used around the world. So we have over 13 million people across the globe, with the highest number in the world in the United States. So for those of you going to the United States, or for those of you who are in the United States right now watching me, there are so many other states. Okay, so I'm not using the US as a case study, but I'm just trying to let you know that the major country where we can have or associate ourselves with drug barons and every kind of cocaine activity we find in the United States. So the highest number of users in the United States is just a little less than the total number I just told you, which is 13 million people all around the world. So we can say a fraction of probably 8 million users in the US. Yeah, so there's an abuse of heroin, opioids, and other kind of drugs which are taken all around the world. About 8 million people take heroin, opiums, So mainly in the Southeast and the Southwest, Asia and Europe, this is where we have cases for opium use and heroin. Does anybody want to say something? Okay, let me continue. So drug abuse is seen in various different age groups and in individual form is nearly something that we cannot shy away from, because it's part of life. It's part of what forms the society we live in, because science believes however we need to function in life, we must stay healthy. And one of the healthy aspects of living is when we have issues with our health, we consult doctors who administer drugs. But when we now of our own consult drugs, we become drug misusers. So there are many people where can we find people using where can we find people who misuse drug? So there are more drug abusers in form of men than women. So men are likely more drug abusers than women, and single people are more likely drug abusers than married individuals, and urban dwellers are more likely drug misusers than rural dwellers. Then prisoners, street children, and younger individuals are more likely drug abusers than those who are not in that category. Okay, are we really enjoying the section? Are we enjoying the section? Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir. Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, we are hearing you.
Okay. So, all right. I want to quickly talk about alcohol overdose or drug overdose. So if the body receives a level of drug that it cannot tolerate, this can lead to an overdose. So while some overdoses occur after continuous use, they can also happen after one single use of a drug. So what are the symptoms of drug overdose? We have agitation, we have seizures. Hope you know what seizures are. You'll notice somebody will just all of a sudden either have a slight short of breath and all of that. Then hallucinations, feeling of, when you have let's say a state of hibernation, to hibernate. So your body starts feeling a little dizzy. So you have difficulty in breathing, nausea and vomiting, unsteady gait, violent or aggressive behavior. And the least expected is that when you have alcohol or drug overdose, you are likely to be in coma. You're likely to be in coma. And you know what coma is? Coma is more like when you are close to the gate of dying for like either 15, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. You don't know what is happening. Sometimes a day, sometimes. Why? Because the drugs you administer to your body register in the brain. So when the brain cannot contain it, your brain shuts down. So when your brain shuts down, your neurons, your body system shuts down, because your brain is the engine of your body. Even though the heart is very important, it is only your brain that can tell what your body should do. So, but when you don't like yourself, that's when you now work on affecting your brain. That's why we have issues such as mental cases. So that's why in the foundation I run, we look at educating children on child mental health, teenage mental health, youth mental health, things that the mind should process. Things that the mind should process. So if any of these drugs, if any of these signs that I mentioned, you see them or you experience them in the life of a person, just know that the person has been using drug wrongly. But not all cases of vomiting is drug misuse. You can eat a food that is not well digested or that is not well cooked and you vomit. So I'm not saying when you see someone vomiting, that is no. But for the example, let me give an example. Someone who is not used to alcohol, for the first time, he is prone to, puffing out irregularities from the mouth, that is vomiting, or to a state of taking it to stupor. There's what called state of stupor. When you take it in essence, that's the overdose we're talking about. So you find out some people, they fall by the channel, they fall by the road, they end up, how will I put it? Maybe they went for party and they drank beyond required. You find them either naked, you find them either clothes open. So many things can be said. So how do we walk towards a life of sobriety? How do we walk towards a life of drug-free lifestyle? Drug-free lifestyle is one of the most important steps of a recovery process. If you are someone who's addicted to any drugs, just probably you're listening, or maybe you have friends, or maybe you have teenagers, or maybe you have people. I'm just going to share some things because I'm drawing my conclusion. I think I have 4 minutes or 5 minutes, I don't know. So I'm trying to rush, right? So the first thing is awareness. When you're aware that, oh, you need solution or you need help, that is where your recovery state starts from. You know, it's easy to say, I am sick, but you are not aware of the cause or what is the cause of your sickness. So the moment you are aware of the reason why you're sick, half of your problem or half of the remedy for the sickness has been sorted out. Are we together? So anyone seeking help will be able to find numerous help from registered, qualified medical practitioners, because there are questions of whether some of these our doctors help promote the uses of drugs. Definitely, there are doctors who, for the sake of the money, not for humanity's sake, they provide some of these drugs, even when it has been banned, even when it has been proven illegal for use. Some people still provide that. So, what are the recovery process or intervention? How do we intervene? How do we come in? Now, if you ever want to decide to stop, at first, it's not easy. So don't think it's easy. Just like when you say, I want to stop working. Meanwhile, you are the boss or you are in charge of the activities. It's not easy for you to say, I want to stop working. First, you need to put things in place. You need to make sure that your absence doesn't affect the business, or, so preventing drug prevention is not at first easy. But first of all, like I said, you must understand that there's an issue, and probably that issue may be addiction, or something of the likes. So it's easy to overcome the desire of quitting. It's easy. So it's just that it takes a process. So in some cases, the family and friends of an addict may consider holding a state of intervention, either finding someone who can come in to help, sometimes spiritual intervention, praying, that is utmost. Yeah, so the use of confrontation and forcible intervention is not the way out. Don't for people who are addicts, and for someone who's trying to stop the addicts, for you that want to stop the addicts, please don't force it. Don't make it feel that the addict has committed a big crime, whereby some people, they feel they need to distance themselves from them. If he or she is your friend, you can come to the person in form of a friend, because you love him, because you care for him, because you want the best for him. So you don't need to start yelling, why are you like this? Why like that? You come in, oh, do you know there's a way out? Do you know we can work this in out? Do you know we can easily, okay, how about taking fruits instead of taking this? How about taking vegetable instead of taking this? How about drinking more of water instead of, these little signs of care comforts the person and makes the person feel yes. But the moment we introduce the confrontational method or the attacking method of disgust, or feeling the thought of, okay, what's my business or what's my problem, or not even associating with the person, it even makes it worse, because they will now go and recruit other people who will be worse than they are. So it's better to prevent one than to prevent multitudes. When you prevent one, you have prevented that one from bringing other people into the family of that. So yeah, like I said, you can meet health practitioners, professionals, and all of that. So how do we detoxicate from drugs, or how do we withdraw from drugs? Before someone can begin a rehabilitation program or a full withdrawal or detoxification, during the process, your body needs to first adjust so that it is drug free. And hello, am I still on?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So maybe you need to move away from the environment that reminds you of yourself. For example, that this building is where I usually take you understand? So probably for me to first of all find a withdrawal method, I have to leave the environment. Sometimes it may not be about leaving the environment. It may be about removing things that remind you of what you take. So from there, you could be in a free state, and medically, somebody who is medically in line can also check for how to help you out, so that you don't go through those process of getting drugs and all of that. So there's what we call rehab and treatment options, rehabilitation options, treatment options. So a doctor, an addict specialist, or a counselor can help people find the right rehabilitation or treatment option. So it may not be a family per se. It may not be, even though you are good as a close friend, that alone may not be enough. So you require someone who knows in and out of that. And as such, you're advised to go for counseling, or the person who is with you takes you to an individual that is trusted and all of that. So there are varieties of types of substance abuse treatment programs that are available. If you're curious, you go on the internet, you go to a reputable hospital, so many treatment programs. Here they will tell you what you need, your setting, where you need to belong, what you need to be doing, how you need to regulate yourself, So, there could be, just like I said, the religious way, where you meet your religious leader. But in Christianity is not a religion. So I'm just saying, because there could be many other beliefs. But for you could meet your pastor, your reverend, or a prophet, or something. Prayer could be administered. So many easier ways could be administered. So patients, there are so many patients in the hospital. There are many outpatients who are also there. There are many people who are also looking for ways out of their states. So there are many ways. All right. I wish there's so much for me to talk about. All right, but I believe that is okay for withdrawal method and all of that. So lastly, or would I say before I draw my curtain close, what are the behavioral therapy we can administer? There are various behavioral therapy that can help patients treat and manage their drug or alcohol addiction. One of the recognized strategic structure, you can find that in what we call the cognitive behavioral therapy, that is the CBT. Now, CBT has been shown in some studies to be an effective aspect of the treatment of misuse of drugs. So what does CBT focus on? That is cognitive behavioral therapy, that is CBT. It focuses on awareness of your thoughts, your actions, and the consequences of both, by learning about drug abuse prevention and how to avoid situations, and what may cause your craving. Some people crave for things that they don't really want. So a person who has an opportunity to retain control and make the decision to not seek out or use drugs. So we have so many programs out there. So there are other forms of behavioral therapy, such as contingency management. This is a type of therapy that involves incentives and rewards to help motivate people to abstain from substance use. Okay, for example, I could say, will you like to stop smoking if I give you $20,000 a week? That may work. Yeah, that may work. So, incentive method, if you care about the person, that is another method. Then there's also family therapy, which is a type of counseling that involves patient and family members and other members, So this one in Nigeria, we say they will call for family meeting. So because you are the black sheep in the family, everybody will gather just to talk about your issue. But in the cases like that, when the family is more confrontational, the result is always not good. But when the family come in a way of love, care, concern, it's easier and it helps. Okay. Then we have the motivational intervention or therapy method, where someone who is technically inclined can assist the individual just to begin treatment. For example, this kind of case, someone who loves another deeply, maybe a fiance with a fiancé, either of the two are involved. So because of the love bond, one could be a source of motivation to the other, abstaining from drug misuse or alcohol and all of that. So there are other things I wish to talk about. So how do we find help for substance abuse? Well, there are many people across the country, wherever you are watching from, wherever you're viewing from, who are struggling from drug abuse, alcohol, so many things. So substance misuse and abuse can still feel very, very difficult to handle, especially when people isolate themselves. When people who feel they can't be helped abstain from the world around them. Some cases, I didn't talk about something. My mind is in so many things. There are so many things drug abuse can lead to. There are so many things drug abuse can lead to. It can lead to untimely deaths. A child or a teen or a youth you don't expect to die, all of a sudden dies. Why? Because he or she got involved into something that is beyond his health, at that moment. So it leads to untimely death. People commit suicide. It leads to betrayal. People betray others. And in the point of betraying others, they kill others in the process. So there are many things that happen. That is the implication. Many things that happen when we find ourselves totally subject to drug misuse or drug abuse. The society brings up teenagers or youths that are not useful to the community. We call them the vagabonds, the wanderers, the hooligans, the touts, wherever you're coming from, the area boys and girls, So there are so many things. It could lead to mental disorder. Those who are mentally disordered are in a state of madness, So their brain just got sparked by something that the brain could not probably control. So there are so many things that endangers your body when it comes to the idea of misuse of drugs. The best thing is always follow what your doctor has prescribed, and do not, because of your peer or because of what other people do, also do. No. Nowadays, it is also what we watch that also affects how we turn into. You are watching a movie that speaks of drug use. Definitely you want to go and learn how to use drugs. You are watching an advert that tells you cigarette is good. Meanwhile, on the opposite, it's not. So there are so many things, especially while watching. The media is not, nowadays the media is not helping matters because they are bringing illicit things to the eyes of the children, and the children learn. And where you have parents who don't have time for their children, they also find themselves in a state where they breed up children that they cannot control. So a state of over-pampering. When you over-pamper your children, the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, spare not the rod, and all of that. So there are so many things we ought to do and all of that. Okay, so I hope I'm able to say some things around that. So just like I said, how to find help. You need to speak to someone you trust, and don't isolate yourself. Know that there's an issue. Speak to someone that can help out and all of that. Okay, that brings me to a stop at this moment. Hello.
Yeah, good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to ask
I'm so grateful.
That gets us into the questioning time. I hope you are ready for us, Mr. Raymond. I know some of our sweethearts have some questions they might want to ask, right, children? But you know the way we do it. Once you have a question, all you need to do is raise your hand. Then Mrs. Clem or myself will call you to ask your question. Okay? Thank you so much, Raymond.
Thank you so much.
All right. Who has a question? Who is going first?
I.
Okay. So you're going to tell Mr. Raymond your name and then ask your question. Your age. All right. Let's hear you.
My name is Clementine Amanda and I'm 8 years old. My question is, what is marijuana?
What is marijuana? Okay, I think I mentioned it earlier, and we talked about it on the cannabis. Yeah, if you can remember. How many of you can remember? You can remember. Okay. Now, well, marijuana is a type of weed drug, that is planted or grown, usually in the Middle East and all of that. So it's something that you as a child or as a teen don't need to associate yourself with. It's just like a dried plant. You call it weed. Some people say in Nigeria, some people say Igbo. That's the Yoruba dialect, or the Yoruba way of pronouncing it, Igbo. So it is under the class of cannabis, So it's a dried leaf, like I said, that is mostly grown in the southeast and northeast, even in Europe. Yeah. Any other question? Did I answer your question well?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right. Any other question? Let's see hands up, children. I'm waiting. Hello, question time. Where am I? Uh-oh. Does it mean we all understand what Mr. Raymond has taught us this evening? Yeah? You have a question? Who has a question? All right.
They are all clear on.
No question. I think it's time for us to tell Mr. Raymond a big thank you. So I would like that everyone unmute his somebody is saying something.
Thank you.
You have not even allowed me finish. I'd like everyone to open up their mute their mics and blow Mr. Raymond big kisses from their heart to say thank you, Mr. Raymond. 5, 6, go. Unmute now. And let's say thank you to Mr. Raymond. Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ray.
I'm so grateful to have you guys.
I know you.
You know, Mr. Raymond, I wanted us to know these things. You've been waving and waving. Thank you. Well done. I'm coming to your house to come and pick you up with that.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
And it's really wonderful that the network did not disturb. Everybody could hear every aspect of the program. I'm so grateful. And I believe next year will be better than this.
Yes, of course it will.
Yes,
I hope for more. I hope for more collaboration. I hope for more activities. I'm always to be reached at any time.
Thank you so much for you.
I was wondering for this section today, is there a video, was it recorded?
Oh yes, there's a recording. So we usually drop it on the Telegram group where other people can see and other parents can also see. There's a recording.
Okay, is it downloadable?
Of course.
Yes, you will see it immediately.
Yeah, we drop it immediately.
No problem. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. God bless you. Thank you, everyone. Then we call it a wrap. Thank you for sharing. I learned a lot actually. I learned a lot. Apart from even our proper drugs as a medication, I learned that it's not okay to use them beyond what the medical practitioners ask us to do. Because yes, they are medicines that are supposed to work for our body, but the excessiveness of them will also damage our body cells. So we shouldn't do that. And I'm sure the children in the house can hear that on every medication they say don't put to the reach of the children. So you are not meant to use any medicine by yourself. Henceforth, even if mommy says, I'm going to take 5 pills, tell mommy no. With all due respect, you should give me the medicine. Okay, children? That's what all this is about. We should start that from our normal medication. And drug is not good. Say no to drugs. Say no to drugs. Thank you so much, Mr. Raymond. Thank you. God bless you. And we all say big bye. See you tomorrow. I'm signing out. Bye.